going on, everybody? Welcome back to another interview we have, another convo we having, this time with Jonathan Antoine, one of the world's greatest tenors currently. How you doing?
Well, thank you very much. I'm doing fantastically. How are you? How are you doing?
We're hanging in there, just going through the emotions like everybody else, I think, at this time.
Yeah, doing real good though, man. Here to talk to you. You're a really special talent, so it's always great talking to people like you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that like in these times, the best thing that we can do is like meet like this and talk and just be open and share our experiences, right?
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's one good thing is, everybody's kind of got time on their hands. So at least, maybe not physically meet, but we can at least virtually meet and kind of have conversation, across the different lanes and stuff like that. So, when your name came across our inbox, I was like, the name sounds so familiar. I'm like, hold on, let me look him up. And then sure enough, it was the clip that, I think everybody's seen of, Britain's Got Talent. So I'm very excited to have this kind of talk with you.
Well, thank you. I'm really glad that you've given me some of your time. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, we definitely appreciate you taking time out.
Yeah, it's more your time than ours. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I remember just seeing your video of that Britain's Got Talent clip just pop up. Just because I'm a visual artist, so like I even just like to be inspired by music and stuff, and those types of shows have a lot of the most like raw type of like performative qualities. So a lot of times I would just like YouTube search stuff that was like inspirational performances, and you came up a lot actually. It was really, really interesting. I loved it. That's like way before this, obviously. Like, so I've definitely listened to you sing just like in the studio before.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, on the like raw performance thing. Yeah, I actually haven't listened to the whole clip myself, right? Because
since then you never.
I think generally like people in general tend to lean away from listening to their own recordings, right? Yeah. It's hard to hear yourself talk. But like, from what I have heard of it, it's very raw, man. It's wild. It's crazy to think how much like not just I've changed, but like how much my voice has changed.
Mm-hmm.
How much the world has changed, I guess.
Too,
yeah, man.
I mean, you were only about 17 at the time, so it's happened like 8 years ago. So I mean, that's. I'm sure you get these questions a lot, but I'm sure there's got to be like a surreal experience to kind of look back on and see how far you've come since then. Like,
Oh yeah. It's like I'm constantly posing the question to myself of whether I'm like fundamentally the same person that I was back then.
Yeah.
And like, in a way it's troubling. Like, because there are aspects of me back then that I like. And of course, there are aspects of me now that I like more. But, I'd like to think that I'm still kind of that kid who went on that stage, but just a lot happier,
Yeah. No, but that's good.
I don't want to ask any cliche questions about like, the whole experience. I'm sure you get those a lot since the years you've been, since it was like over 130 million times or something like that. I guess my real question about it is like how has that experience kind of helped you in your career, you think, since that?
Well, I was in a really bad place like before going on the show. I just dropped out of school. I had no heading in life whatsoever. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, and just being able to so I just one day randomly get a BlackBerry message, just saying, I've applied for Britain's Got Talent. Do you want to go on with me? And so I'm at the lowest point, and I think there is nothing left to lose. Like the worst thing that could happen is that things will just stay the same. Yeah. Which is a scary thought when thinking back on it now. And being able to just be around people, because the tendency when you're so down is to completely isolate yourself, and to have like that olive branch kind of extended to me, and to be able to interact with other people who were really passionate about doing their art, whatever performing art it was. That was it was a really, really special experience to me. And then going through into the TV show, being able to, again, it's the interactions and the sharing of the experiences. Like David Walliams, one of the judges on the show and a comedian who I'd enjoyed for many years beforehand, to just pass his dressing room and him like poke his head out and he has like cupcakes that he's offering to people, like these real human moments in between all the madness of recording a TV show. That was it provided invaluable groundedness to me at that time. And yeah, I'm so grateful to not just for that, but to be where I am now as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you finished second, right? You guys finished second that season.
Yeah.
You guys lost to a dancing dog. I believe that's what it was.
It's true. But I've said this. I've said this so many times. If there is anyone that it should have happened to, then it's Ashley who trained Pudsey, because she was just a wonderful, wonderful lady. And so no hard feelings.
How do you beat a dancing dog first of all?
True. I mean, I'm a big like animal person, so I totally get it, to be honest. It's very, very sweet.
Definitely.
Very talented.
I guess my other question about your experience is like, how was the response from like the classical community, like the genre that you're in? What do you think they looked at that portrayal and experience of the music? Because I don't know about in that genre, but I know in a lot of other genres there can be certain like gatekeepers who kind of look down upon stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that this is personally, I listen to a lot of heavy metal, so there's a lot of gatekeeping in that genre as well. So I'm pretty sure it's across every single genre. You'll find someone who's like, you're not a real this fan because you haven't listened to this artist. And it's it's purposeless in a way, trying to combat that. So and it's hard to know really, because it's all so fractured as well. Everyone's opinion on music is very, very subjective. So there's no real unified consensus, I guess, that says like you're a poser kind of thing. It's just the occasional one or two people. I was actually going to the Junior Royal Academy of Music in London at the time, just before I went on the show, and a lot of the people there were quite skeptical about it, certainly. But I think that for the most part, the concern really just comes from like people worry that they're going to like exploit you and stuff. Thankfully that didn't happen. I didn't see much evidence of that happening. So maybe I got lucky.
I mean, like you said, you're still going 8 years strong. So obviously it wasn't too bad of a, experience, and it didn't keep you from growing from then, clearly.
No, the opposite. It's let me live my life.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to know about like just that point of like that spark of like getting the text and like just like, was that the music teacher or was that like?
No, that was my singing partner at the time, Charlotte Giaconelli, like just a school acquaintance basically, and we'd sung together to do a couple of things like class assignments, but we never really had any plan whatsoever to like go in and be a duo or like make it a professional thing. It was quite literally on a whim, we I wonder where I was at the time. I must have been at home. I think it was sometime around 11 at night, and it just a random BlackBerry message just changed everything.
That's wild. That's awesome, though. It's really cool that, just like a simple relationship like that, just like a schoolmate, you kind of just like do a project together and you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this. You down? And you're like, yeah, okay. Then, it kind of like sets you up for something else. Like, amazing.
Yeah, and it's bizarre because I've had lots of really close people who I've been in bands with and stuff, just as like and it just ended up being kind of a fun thing that we did. But and it just turns out that this kind of offhand thing ends up being my whole career.
Yeah,
it's serendipitous is a word I like to use for it. It's just I got super lucky, and I ended up loving it.
Nice. I think I saw something where you were actually at band practice when the first airing of the show came out. Was that like, what was that reaction like when the day of people actually seeing you on TV?
actually, when it came out on TV, I was in band practice at the time, or just because my friend's dad owns like a little an industrial estate. There's a studio right at the back corner, and my friend's dad happens to own it, and so we got occasional free, sessions where we just go in and hit stuff. And during when it all came out, I was in there. I had my phone off, and so we all come out and we're all sweating because it's very hot in those rooms. I turn my phone on and it just starts going wild. And yeah, we're all like just laughing about it. Like, this is so weird. It's just like, yeah, I didn't expect that reaction to be so immediate.
Yeah.
Like, it just, strong and immediate, like right away. It was just all cylinders like firing. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
So I guess there's that moment, that was a huge moment in your career that kind of started launching things. So I don't want to rewind things like to back when you were younger. So like, how did you first get into singing, and like, how did you kind of discover your voice that you had?
It's a good question. I've always just enjoyed playing around and messing around. Like when I was like a tiny little kid, I'd dance and sing to whatever was on the radio, to amuse my mum and dad. So I guess it's always been sort of an underlying passion for me. But there throughout my life, there have been a lot of things that I've wanted to do. Like I like writing, as in stories and stuff. And it's just that when I kind of found music, when I started exploring it a bit more and like listening to stuff that I really, really liked, like probably in high school, like listening to Jeff Buckley was a turning point for me. Like to hear how music can sound was it changed a lot for me. And so I'd done some productions and stuff when I was in primary school, so like 11 years old or so. And I had a really encouraging teacher named Mrs. Masterson, who kind of said, you should try it and give it a go. And then, going to high school, listening to cooler music, starting singing lessons, just because the high school happened to have a singing teacher. And I just fell in love with it. The first song that I ever learnt was "Where Is Love" from Oliver. And I sang that for a school event for a bunch of people's parents. Absolutely terrifying. Wow. But it was so rewarding. Like, to have that feeling wash over you for the very first time of like, I'm singing, I'm in front of people and they're not crying and screaming. It's wonderful. And to be in like I'm not even sure who played the piano for me. I'm sorry. But to be in unison with that piano and to kind of feel that rhythm, it's as though you're in the current of the universe. Like you're feeling every heartbeat of the world. It's an indescribable thing. And then it's nice to have people's parents afterwards kind of be like, oh, that was really nice, just compliment you and about something that you're exploring is it's life affirming. And so I was pulled magnetically to this path by chance and fate, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess does musicality kind of run in the family? Was music always in the household, stuff like that, where any of your parents or anything singing?
No, not particularly. My dad sang in a choir when he was young, but that's for my immediate family, the ones who live with me. That's it. So it was just whatever was on. That's what I listened to when I was younger. Did Adam Rickett reach over there? He was a UK guy.
I don't think. I mean, in our circles, I don't.
I'm not sure.
No. But he had a song when I was probably like 5 years old. He had a song that I would dance around to as a little kid. Yeah.
So I guess how'd your interest grow into sort of like the classical opera type music?
Yeah, again, just by that chance and fate, right? So that first song from Oliver was like musical theatery, and it just felt nice to sing, to do all the long kind of sweepy lines and going up stepwise where it just felt nice, and so I kept doing it. It's not really by choice. It just it just sort of happened. And I was maybe 14 or so, and my voice started breaking. And I kept going to my singing lessons, and my teacher, Miss Ewington, Jenny, she basically said that there are a few things that can happen, and if your voice happens to break pretty high and you turn into a tenor, that's kind of like a bit of gold dust. And so I clasped my hands together and prayed all night. No, I kept singing through it. And it turned into, well, it turned into what it was then, and it keeps growing, which is my favorite thing really about singing and all this, is that there's always more to do.
Yeah.
I'll never be the best in the world as well, which is really nice, because I feel as though there are some people who really can say they're the best in the world at their craft, but with something like singing and how very broad it is, and music in general, there'll always be someone who can go a little bit higher or do some other thing. So I'll always have something to aspire to.
So I guess, who are some of your favorite voices, like singers growing up, or like
growing up,
or just now, like
well, yeah. Funnily enough, growing up, like I started listening to a lot of like the emo and pre-metal stuff.
Yeah.
So like My Chemical Romance is Gerard Way, who does have a really, really great voice.
Yeah.
Crazy voice.
They'll have some great singers. They really
do.
Like my current favorite vocalist is a guy called Daniel Tompkins, who is the vocalist for a band called Tesseract.
Oh yeah, Tesseract is dope. Actually, I know what you're talking about.
So good. I've been to a couple of. I think I've been to one of their shows, and there's a band called Monuments as well, who are in that same scene. Who it's I could gush about this for ages. Like particularly back in like 2012. When I was first sort of starting to become more confident, I would go out to like metal shows all the time, and I kind of made fast friends with a few people in the tech metal scene, as it's called. Okay. So it has a special place in my heart.
So when are we gonna get a metal album from you? Like, if you love metal, metal, that'd be amazing.
I want to say soon, but it's been soon for however many years, right? If I made a metal album, I want it to be so. Well, I want it to be really cool, but I don't know how exactly I'd want to put that across, because there's even just in metal, there's so many different styles that you can approach it with. So yeah, we'll see. Eventually,
I see some like Lamb of God mixing with some like, I don't know. You could do some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that. That would be awesome. Soon.
I'm down. Soon.
There we go.
I'll call some.
Just keep a stash.
Yeah, we'll call some metal artists we know, and then we'll kind of hook you guys up, see what we can create.
Awesome.
So I guess the question that everybody gets: how has COVID been? How is the pandemic? How's that affected you, personal life, and music, and all that?
Yeah, I'm quite hermit-like by nature, so I stay home a lot anyway. So at first it was like kind of almost business as normal, but I think even for like the homebodies who say that, it's become quite like. Like I live at home with mum, dad, and my sister. So to be, we're always sort of together, but to be so close at all times, it's been hilarious. Actually, it's been hilarious and nerve-wracking in ways.
But there's like together, like there's different levels.
Yeah. There's before COVID together, and there's COVID together right now. Like, it's so when it all started, I was out doing some promo stuff for PBS actually, and kind of going between airports and seeing steadily, more and more people wearing masks, and we're like out of our home country. We kind of have no idea what's really going on. It was really bizarre, but even at that time, we weren't thinking about it too much. And when we get back home, that's it. Lockdown begins, and no more travel. We make it basically just in time. yes, it was really bizarre. And having just recorded an album last year and releasing it this year, it just kind of, we kind of put it out there for people to enjoy, and didn't really know what else to do, because it's an unprecedented time, quite literally. Like, I was reading something about, even the Spanish flu only interrupted the musical performances for a very short amount of time. So this is truly an unprecedented time for performers. And then deciding to record an album in all of this was kind of an extension of the wanting to do something, that we're all feeling, but also wanting to give something to people, because I've been absent, for so much of this year. I want to give people something to enjoy, and to maybe bring a smile to someone's face this Christmas where it might not have been before. And that's the recording of that was interesting to me, at least from a problem solving standpoint. That's the thing, you've got to find the silver linings where you can in all of this. And the way that Abbey Road adapted to COVID, like how quickly and how efficiently they did. There were check-ins every time, regardless of if you'd just been in. You had to check back in and have your health check form thing. All the corridors are one way. There's a limited number of people in every room. I was relegated to a booth because obviously my job is to blow air all over the place, which is like dangerous right now. So, I'm in my own booth. The orchestra are in the main room, and they have to be a certain distance apart. And it's all reliant on hearing each other for them. So it's all of these kind of issues, and to still be able to get something and to be as I am currently really, really proud of it is it's a dream.
Yeah, that's amazing. All the work. I mean, that's a lot of interesting, just like lead up to motivation to create a project just in these times. Like, it seems like a lot of what was happening in the world sort of like led to you wanting to, give that gift in the time of giving,
Yeah. I think that if this were any other year, I wouldn't have made a Christmas album in particular. So it's, it felt right, particularly because for me, Christmas is always this constant thing. I'm always with my family. We always do something together. And so the idea that will be massively disrupted this year for so many people, that hurts. Like, even it's not me, but it still hurts me. So if I can, help just a little bit, then I'm in.
Since we're already discussing it, let's just keep going. So that majestic picture you have behind you, that is ChristmasLand. This is the album that you just released, I think last week, right? And Christmas album, your first Christmas album. And like you said, I mean, you kind of answered one of my questions, which was why now? And I guess my next question would be, how did you choose this set of songs?
Great. It was mostly me and the producer Greg, I think, with some extra inputs all over the place. That's how I really like to do it personally. After a few, I've kind of figured out what I like. I think maybe it'll change next time. But we get a whole bunch of songs together and we make a spreadsheet. And of course we do. And we color coded it, basically kind of having discussions back and forth over the course of about a week, really, and kind of figuring out what means the most to us and what is kind of the most ubiquitous, I suppose. When I particularly because my albums are covers, I like to try and make them things that everyone will know and everyone will associate a certain memory with. And so I think that the whole track list has that. For me, these are all songs that I have heard every Christmas without fail, basically, except maybe special times. But that was our secret ingredient. Where we were looking for one last thing. We'd gone through our spreadsheet. We'd color coded the ones that were no in red, the yeses in green, the maybes the maybes were gone by that point. And we had 11 songs. And we need that's we were calling it like the secret sauce or the special sauce or something in the email chains. It got a little weird. And so we have this great relationship with Diane Warren, who also kind of gave us Compass for the last album. And so Greg says, why don't I reach out again? And so we get this gorgeous song, and we Marco Marinangeli, who did translation, he's done translation work for so many people. He makes this gorgeous Italian translation of it, and I hear the way that it works is he writes it all down, and he also sends me him speaking through the words, and I hear the way it sounds, and I cry. Of course. It's so easy to make me, all of this stuff has made me cry at some point, it feels like. It transforms the whole song for me, and it's already a gorgeous song, but to have this like special twist on it, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a very like emotional song. Like you really bring out the emotion in it. And like you said, singing in Italian. Is this like, can you speak Italian?
No.
I was wondering that too, because I looked at comments under all your videos too, and everyone's like, I'm Italian. The pronunciation is incredible. And I'm like, wow, that's lit.
It's so like, I'm so like, I have no idea. It's I guess it comes from like when I was really young, I'd always try and do impressions, and I think a lot. I think you hear that like comedians are pretty good singers in general because they kind of they imitate or generally project their voice, and so I think that it stems from imitation maybe.
I can see that. That's cool.
Yeah, because I'm really just looking at the phonetics of the language, and I think that there are in general less vowel phonemes, so a, e, I, o, u. I think that's I think those are maybe the only ones in Italian, or maybe not. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a linguist, but it's there are less vowels in Italian than English, and so there are less options when you look at a specific text. It's actually more likely to be the way that you think it's pronounced than otherwise.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, speaking of like the secret sauce, I mean, you mentioned Greg, but you didn't really mention Greg. Like, Greg Field is a pretty legendary, drummer, producer, extraordinary. He worked with, Frank Sinatra, Luther Vandross, like legendary people from, and Count Basie,
Yeah, like, and I find it so bizarre at this point that he's kind of basically like a family friend. Like over just the past few years, like our bond has grown very strong because I think we have very similar kind of senses for music and stuff, and similar attitudes in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He's just such a nice fellow as well, which I think we're all aware of the cliche that's hard to find, right, in Hollywood or in the music industry or wherever. But it's kind of true. It's kind of true that it is hard to find. So to have someone who is so like at the top, such a legend, but also so down to earth and just an actual human being is amazing. And not to mention like the way that he makes things sound is majestic. I have no idea how he somehow manages to take the sound that I hear in my head and actually put it on a record. Like a problem for singers is that we can hear all the resonant chambers in our head and it sounds very rich and warm, but then when it gets out into the world, it's different. And so for him to be able to transfer that back into that head sound it's wild. Genius.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a feeling as soon as any of those songs come on. I mean, you guys worked together for the last two projects?
Yeah.
That's
yeah. It's and he's very accommodating as well. If I say there's a certain thing I want in a certain part, then it's there basically. It's just a joy to work with. Just a joy.
That's awesome.
I mean, you've name dropped, like you worked with a lot of amazing people. Like you just talked about Diane Warwick, Greg. You also work with like the Royal Philharmonic, Orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, they're featured on your project. Like,
Yeah, they are the orchestra for the album.
that is so amazing.
Like, they are obviously world class. It's and to be able to have them, particularly, yeah, to have them at this time during COVID when everything's mad, for them to actually kind of be okay with recording and stuff is an incredible honor. And like, I do worry sometimes that like working with all these incredible people, you just kind of think, oh well, you know, it's just Greg, it's just the Philharmonic, but like
Abbey Road, like
it's just Abbey Road, like, but no, it's every single day I pinch myself, I thank my lucky stars, and I consider myself wholly blessed in every aspect. I'm such a lucky guy.
Yeah. I have one question. Do you have like a personal relationship with Dion O'Rourke?
Well, we've been emailing. We haven't met yet, obviously, because of 2020, but it's she's been so nice. Again, a joy to work with. Like, it's I get because I met her through Greg. I get the feeling that Greg only associates with people that are really nice. Yeah. So, she's been so complimentary about the entire project, and with the new video, the Special Times video, she was really excited about that. She's even
great video, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's such a new like touch on like a Christmas type of video.
I can't watch it without crying. I did a watch along for like a premiere kind of thing, and it was a mistake because I was just crying. Like, and, you know, I don't mind having a good cry, but in front of other people, it's a little bit. Like,
you can pull it up right now, if you know, you can watch along right now.
Yeah, you know what? All right, everyone, we're gonna pull this up. So
get real emotional in a minute, you know?
But we've been in contact, and she's been talking about other songs, new songs, all kinds of stuff. So I have a feeling that Diane and I will be doing stuff far into the future.
Yes, she's hilarious. I don't know if you've seen her recently on Twitter, but she went on a roasting rant of like all the R&B artists and rappers who have like "the" in their name. It is
what? Yeah. I did not see that.
I didn't see this one either.
Go check out her Twitter. She's
oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's just hilarious. Like, getting an email from her, and they're like, there are 1,000 exclamation marks and all these emojis and stuff. And she's just so enthusiastic and like loves life. Yeah. And that's such a beautiful quality in a person, I think.
Yeah, definitely go check out her tweets. They're funny. So I guess, what are some of your guys' best Christmas experiences or memories that you kind of pulled from to make some of these songs?
Well, it's all of my Christmases, as I kind of alluded to, have been with my family. And so for me, it's like the idea of a perfect Christmas is just that. It's that simplistic thing of being around mum, dad, and my sister. Sometimes we get the joy and the luck of going away somewhere. When I was young, occasionally we'd get to go to Florida, to Disneyland. Now that I'm a bit older, occasionally it's LA. And we have, you know, obviously we've got Greg out there. We've got sometimes my manager Bob's out there, and a few beautiful friends out there. But to me, it's all about that core experience. It's waking up really early, even though, you know, I'm 25 and I already know all of the family knows what we got each other, but we still go and open the presents, and then we make the Christmas dinner all day for some reason, and we just have a wonderful time. Those are the beautiful experiences, the human connections. That's what I'm drawing on with this throughout this whole pandemic, I guess. Because at the moment, I think we all need those connections, and those, even if it can only be virtual, to share experiences with one another.
Yeah, and I guess A lot of times when people hear a Christmas album, they just think, oh, there's another Christmas album. But it's really actually a very daunting task as like a musician to approach a Christmas album, because there are so many classic albums that you have to like that get compared to, basically, because everybody knows like a Christmas song or Christmas version that's like the favorite. So like I'm sure that had to be a very daunting task to approach these songs that have been done by so many. It's been done
absolutely.
Frank Sinatra, Mariah Carey, everybody.
I mean, How Great Thou Art is Elvis, who's like the biggest selling artist of all time, or something ridiculous.
Johnny Cash even had one. So it's like,
yeah. So I know that there will always be a comparison to versions that have come before, but you just kind of got to throw that to the wayside, I suppose. A lot of my versions are based on the other versions. Like How Great Thou Art is definitely a bit of an Elvis pull, I will say. But that's just because I really like the version. So I hope that I can infuse maybe just a pinch of that magic into my own. And yeah, if people want to compare me with some of the great people who've sung these songs, I am absolutely flattered. Frankly, I will take that. We take those.
Well, what's nice about going through your Christmas album is just like the nuances and like even some of the like subtlety in like vocal arrangement, just like the way you come off a note or start something. It's like slightly different than like that memory you're talking about that like we go back to in our head. And like that's what like makes it like, new and special. It's like these little moments that you bring in that are yourself,
Well, thank you. I've also got to give huge credit to Chris Walden, who arranged the album, basically the full thing, and he's a wizard. There's I think it's at the end of Silent Night, the second to last chord is this big spread like 50, 90 thing that like resolves so beautifully. And just hearing the demos, like it made me cry, as it seems everything does. So huge props to him for the way that the songs are arranged, so that it just gives me like an infinite playground, basically. Like or the option I could, you could sing anything on top of these and it would still sound pretty damn good. At
the same time, you got like this really cool control song by song where like you stay in what needs to happen for the song, like because some of the songs like when we see you on that audition or we see other videos, like your like power is like really captivating, the way you can like project and hold these powerful notes. But then like on other songs like Silent Night or other things where you come in on that like very soft like head voice kind of and really like almost lull us in there without like punching us. It's like it's really cool just like seeing like
and then kind of open it up and then it's for me it'd be easy to go in there and kind of like shout all over everything. Doing stuff quietly is the bane of my life. That control and being able to like really pull it all in and make a small sound is actually quite hard for me. So thank you very much. Thank you for one. I sincerely appreciate that you'd I guess notice that effort.
I want to see more of that too, like this because I was just like I would compare like Hark the Herald, where it's like way the other side, and then you go back down to like Silent Night or Amazing Grace, which are so much more just like soft and
controlled.
But it's like you touched falsetto a little bit and it's like this, it's just nice. It's just nice.
I think there are definitely people who would want to hear me kind of blast for 2 hours on a record, but having those peaks and troughs is just more interesting. It's more fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific favorite Christmas albums?
Christmas albums? Well, I'm not sure it counts as an album, but the three tenors in Vienna Christmas performance, I think it's like a 3-disc album if you put all that together. There's so many songs, and the Amazing Grace arrangement is actually based on their version. So in a way, that kind of actually led a lot of our thinking with this project. So it became my favorite throughout production, actually. Because I'd not actually heard it before this year, which is kind of a crime. It's really good. It's really good. Really worth checking out, I think.
Like I said, there are a lot of Christmas albums out there. There's one of my favorite ones is the Death Row Christmas album back from like the 90s. So
nice.
They're definitely out there.
Definitely.
Well, 100 Gex just put out a Christmas song, right?
Oh wow.
Which is pretty interesting. I like them.
So I kind of want to rewind. Like, you had a busy year, so you did release that album back in April. Going the Distance right before the whole coronavirus lockdown. I just want to touch on like, how did you choose those covers? Like, are those some of your personal favorites growing up? Is that why you chose those particular ones?
Yeah, that whole album has a pretty interesting story behind it, actually. For years and years, I'd had the idea to make an album in 3 parts, basically in 3 acts, like a play, like a 3-act structure, and to kind of follow, in a way, my story, but kind of more general, like to make it less about me and more about the idea of just a kid who's struggling and kind of finds themselves through this tale. So it starts with like the Disney songs that I would hear growing up all the time, and that like shaped my understanding of music at that time. It moves into kind of more I guess adult contemporary repertoire, you might say, like Summertime. It's got Compass in there, and eventually it's like this triumph when it gets to the end with the classical stuff, and then I end with Nessun Dorma, which, yeah, that's a huge one. It was the first time I'd ever performed it, and
wow.
It was.
You picked some challenges too in that project. that last album, I was like, wow. How is he doing this?
You got Elton John on there. You got Summertime, which is like, I'm very particular about whose version of Summertime I hear. Like, I'm a big Elvis Fitzgerald one, but you really hear that one. And then like Country Road. Like, how do you pick Country Road? Because
Country Road,
like, American, it's like almost an unofficial American national anthem.
Right.
Country Road, that blew my mind. I was listening to that and was like, this is amazing.
It was a wacky idea. This is a JA original, I guess. Like as an idea, it was kind of like a bit of a meme for a while online. Kind of the song kind of got around a few internet cultures, and I happened to be kind of in a few of those, and so I would hear people singing it, and I think a Korean live streamer sing just a snippet of this song in a sort of similar. He had a very full voice, and I thought, hold on a minute, and so I waited and waited, because this was a few years ago, I think. Actually, I waited and waited, and eventually I pitched the idea to Greg and in general the team working on that album, and it was kind of met with a resounding what, like. But we tried it out, and I think it worked.
Oh my God, what did it? Fantastic! Like I can speak for Doris. Like, as full-blooded Americans, whenever you hear that song, no matter what genre of music you like, you have to stop and you have to like get involved. So like, to hear you come, like, it's just that feeling. It's just, I don't know. You definitely brought it out, even though you know.
I mean, I'm not even American myself. I do love the place, but it's even when I sing that song, I feel that like patriotism. I feel the Blue Ridge Mountains kind of in the distance, right? Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Definitely. I mean, there's another song.
You chose some Disney songs. I wanted to ask you, like, when are we going to get a full Disney album?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about it, honestly. Might put one out next year now. Who knows?
It's not a bad idea. I mean, when things open up, Disney will be opening up too, you know?
Yeah, true. You're right.
I mean, the Les Miserables, what was that? you did a collaboration on stage with like a cellist.
Yeah, Tina Guo.
Yeah, that performance was amazing.
Thank you.
Just talk about like collaborating with other musicians, you know, like how's that? I mean, I know with the COVID situation, you know, there's probably a lot of like this happening with you, but how is that you going on?
It's for me, it's interesting that my work in general has always been collaborative, right? Because I can't really make an album without a full team of like 40 more people for an orchestra. So I've kind of unknowingly always been collaborating. So it set me up quite well, I think. With Tina, she's really cool. She's just a cool lady who plays the cello really well. And so I'm not even sure where the idea came from. It just sort of, like many things, Tina was around. Tina works with kind of my same team. And so it seemed kind of natural. And her performance, that solo on Empty Chairs at Empty Tables, it is.
Yeah, Empty Chairs at Empty Tables. Yeah, that song is so like heavy, even though it's like, yeah. Did you cry the first time you did that song too?
Maybe. Oh man, yeah, and then also with Di Capella, who we did the incredible a cappella Disney group. Who, I mean, I was just saying, I need a whole group of people, of orchestra. They don't. That's to their credit. It's a lot of fun, actually. I like doing my thing. I like to just be able to sing, but to the kind of swapping off and trading out is like really fun. It's like passing a baton. It's hard to explain, really, to sharing that like ethereal space with another person. It's like it's grounding in a way as well, I think. Like to have someone else there is like, oh, we are still in reality on a stage. I'm not floating through the universe, which is how I feel sometimes.
Right. Definitely. But then you can look over and see, somebody right there rocking with you. That's awesome.
So ChristmasLand is out, and also this Friday, the 18th, December 18th, you have a live streaming concert. You want to tell people about that?
Yeah, it's it's going to be a streamed concert. Anyone in the world from anywhere can buy it. Tickets are at onlocationlive.com/ChristmasLand, or all the links will be scattered about the place. They'll be on my socials. They'll be down below here. And it's going to, I think it should be every song from ChristmasLand performed in sequence. And general admission, I believe, is £10 or $15, I think. So I try to keep it as reasonable as I can, so anyone from all over can get in. And if there are other like packages and stuff, if you really want to support me, but yeah, it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful evening of trying to bring concerts back, right? Like we're all itching to go out and do stuff and enjoy life again. And hopefully this will just be a pinch of that glimmer of joy. Fingers crossed.
Definitely check that out this Friday.
Thank you.
Last thing, I know you're like a big advocate for kids and the youth and for anti-bullying, and you also wrote a book recently called Jonathan the Porcupine.
Yes, this it's really cool. I worked with this wonderful lady named Kathy Gebhardt, who has this whole series called Dan the Fish. And she asked basically for permission for the story, my kind of story, to be adapted into one of these books. And so we had many conversations back and forth about how it would all pan out. And eventually it comes through as this PDF of all of the placements and how it's all going to look. And it's just gorgeous. It's the story about believing that there is something that makes you different, particularly on the outside. It's Jonathan the porcupine. He's a porcupine. He's got spines. That is something that outwardly is different to, like a fluffy little squirrel and many of the other woodland animals who inhabit his grove, right? And it is through other people and through the connections that he makes, with his family and his singing teacher, that he finds something that makes him feel truly unique and special. And he finds that those things that make us different are the things that make us the most wonderful and beautiful.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Definitely. I mean, kids need new stories, and stories that encourage inclusiveness are things that we should definitely be spreading and sharing.
If we can't bring our children up to hate each other, it's purposeless. After all of the work that so many people have put in to bring us closer together, we cannot allow the barriers to be built up between us again. However, I will say that we are proficient. Human beings are proficient at the destruction of barriers. And so I think that as we move forward, as we educate kids more and more about how other people exist, and that it's not just all you, as we move forward, I think that we will move towards a generally more united and hopefully better place.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Well, right there with you. A worthy cause, and it's great to see you out there, using your platform in the best ways you can to promote that.
Thank you. I've been given a huge gift by so many people. I've been given the opportunity to continue living my life, even, and to squander that would be to spit in all those people's faces, for one, but it would render me purposeless as well. If you have a platform and you're not kind of using it to make the world better, even if it's just for yourself, then think about the position that you have and what you can do and how you can advocate for hopefully good things. Hopefully.
So
Definitely.
I guess, it's kind of scary to ask this question, but what do you look forward to for the next year, for 2021?
Well, I mean, I've still got to tour my last album. Yeah. So, do
that. Yeah.
Fingers crossed that will all happen in April. But, we'll see. We'll see. Regardless, it all depends, really, doesn't it? It depends if we're allowed to start doing things again, then doing things I will be. It's like I've got so much time to make up for. One virtual concert, it's pretty good, but I want to be all over the place. I want to actually see the people and make those connections that are so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going back to Disney. We got to get you on a Disney song. Definitely covering a Disney song, or doing it. After hearing you cover Elton John, I definitely need to hear you create a song for Disney in one of their movies or something like that.
Hey, if you're listening, someone at Disney, I'm open. I'm available right now.
Honestly, Disney, get this man on the phone.
We got to talk to Disney. We got to talk to our metal friends, and we'll get the Disney album and a metal album.
That reminds me, I do have one more question just about performing and stuff like that. Yeah. Have you considered just diving more into musical theater, actually performing again on stage?
I've considered so much, I guess. For me, it's always the repetition, doing it every day of musical theater type stuff that kind of drives me away. Maybe I'm just lazy. But I've performed in little bars and stuff with bands and stuff. So I've had some broad experiences of performing. So I don't say no to anything, basically. Right. As an experience, I'd like to try it someday.
Yeah, I could see you being lead in something like a Broadway production or something, you know?
Yeah. I did do a musical, actually. And this completely skipped my mind. Before all of this, before BGT, I did a musical with a production company called W11 Opera. It's like a kids production company, and that was it was one of the things that like really spurred me on actually to even pursue music, because I was from the opposite end of London, so I would have to take a train the entire distance across London, and all the other people, it's W11 is a particular area code, and all the other people are from there, so they're very, very posh. And from and I'm from Essex, which is considered less so. But I went there, I auditioned actually, and they put me in like a lead part. So I kind of, it really spurred me on to kind of, that maybe there is a chance that I could do something. Then of course, kind of after that, everything kind of fell apart for me a little bit, and I dropped out of school. But then I had this BGT experience. So it's been a series of me falling down and being picked back up by wonderful, wonderful people.
I mean, you might even consider an animation for that child book that you did. Maybe voiceover, voice acting.
Yeah, I did record a like an audiobook version of it. Just
nice.
Stuck it up on YouTube. Just think, for anyone who wants it, I don't know, maybe to play for their kid or something. It's just it's a fun thing for me to do. I enjoy. I like making stuff, and so to make a little thing extra with Jonathan the Porcupine, maybe it's cool.
Yeah. Well, good luck with the Jonathan the Porcupine, and keep all these creative outlets as options. Don't forget about the musical.
Just trying to give you more jobs and stuff over here. Like, yeah, just go do this.
Yeah.
But definitely, ChristmasLand out now, streaming everywhere. Definitely go check it.
Available anywhere that good music is sold or streamed.
Go look at the picture. It's majestic. Come on, how can you not listen to this? Go listen. Have a great Christmas, and thank you for joining us. Like, it's been an amazing talk. Like, you're a great person.
Thank you for your time. As I said right at the start, I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Definitely tune into this man's virtual concert this weekend. Support him. If he's got, packages or special things, like he said, buy that stuff. And if you'd like to support Living Life Fearless, you can also purchase the shirt that I have, the shirt that Dario has on, the beanies that we have on as well. But thanks. We'll appreciate it. Nice. We'll have to send you one then, man. We'll have to, whatever you want, let us know.
Whatever you want. We will, all the relevant links will be in the descriptions of wherever this goes up. So definitely check that out, and go give him a follow too at all his socials, and give him a shout out. Tell him you came from Living Life Fearless. That'd be dope. And then, and
if you've come from my end, make sure to give Living Life Fearless a follow. And say you came from me.
That would be awesome. Yeah. But we appreciate your time again. And, until next time with everybody, keep living life fearless.